Google accelerates Android 17. What you need to know. Google is speeding up the Android 17 release cycle, and it's reshaping how developers and enthusiasts experience Android updates. In recent years, Google experimented with its release strategy. Traditionally, Android updates went through multiple developer previews, followed by beta releases, and finally a stable launch. But last year, the Android Canary channel replaced developer previews, creating a continuous stream of early builds for testing and feedback. This allowed Google to gather more data faster and reduce the gap between experimental features and public releases. For Android 17, this approach has created an accelerated schedule. Unlike previous years, where the developer previews ran across 2 months before the first beta, Android 17 is moving faster toward a stable release. Despite a somewhat delayed start to the beta cycle, the stable Android 17 launch is now projected for June 2026. This will be the version that allows users to opt out without needing a data wipe, which is an important convenience for developers and early adopters. Looking ahead, March will bring the next Android 17 beta, which is significant because it will reach platform stability. This milestone locks down the final SDK and NDK APIs, along with most app-facing behaviors. In other words, developers will be able to finalize their apps for compatibility with Android 17 without worrying about last-minute changes. Interestingly, Google is being less explicit this cycle about the number of beta releases compared to previous years. Usually, the beta dashboard would show exact release counts or dates. This time, it only lists later beta releases, leaving room for flexibility. Here's how the cycle is shaping up. Beta 1. The initial beta quality release, sent over the air to developers and early adopters who are enrolled in the Android beta program. Later beta releases, incremental updates, refining the platform with bug fixes, stability improvements, and minor feature adjustments. Based on previous patterns, we can expect at least 3 major beta releases before the final stable build. Likely timing would see April and May updates, aligning with Google's quarterly platform release QPR cycle. Speaking of QPRs, Google has made an interesting shift in how it names future updates. References this week indicate that the Android 17 updates are being tied directly to year-quarter nomenclature rather than the generic QPR style. For instance, 26Q3, presumably called 17QPR1. 26Q4, likely 17QPR2, a bigger update with feature refinements. 27Q1, expected 17QPR3, rounding out the cycle. This approach is arguably more descriptive than the older QPR system, making it clearer for developers and enthusiasts to track updates over time. The accelerated Android 17 cycle has broader implications beyond just timing. With fewer rigid previews and a faster beta rollout, developers can react more quickly to platform changes. At the same time, it gives Google more flexibility to address last-minute issues before the public release, which could lead to a smoother, more stable Android experience at launch. For everyday users, this means new Android features may arrive slightly earlier than before, and the platform may be more stable at launch thanks to the continuous testing cycle. Developers get a longer window to optimize apps for the final APIs, while enthusiasts and early adopters can explore the new features sooner, feeding back insights to improve the final build. In summary, Android 17 represents a subtle but important shift in Google's update philosophy. The move to a faster beta cycle, coupled with Canary channel testing and quarterly named QPR updates, suggests Google is refining both its release engineering and communication strategy. For the tech community, the takeaway is clear. Android 17 will arrive faster, developers can finalize apps earlier, and stable features will be more predictable than in previous years. By June 2026, we should see a polished Android 17 rollout that balances new capabilities with stability. A sign that Google is learning from past release cycles and putting both users and developers at the center of its planning. This accelerated cycle could redefine how future Android updates are delivered, potentially making the platform more responsive, more predictable, and more enjoyable for everyone, from casual users to hardcore developers. Android 17 is not just another version number. It's a sign of Google's evolving approach to software delivery in 2026.